But listen at this verdict. Not guilty on all charges. Freddie Gray is dead.
Alright, so let's get down to it. This officer was charged under Minnesota Statutes 609.195 Section A, which basically states that a person who does not have the intent to kill a person but causes that person's death through imminently dangerous acts and a depraved mind without regard for human life is guilty of murder in the third degree. Let's look at a case that resulted in the successful prosecution of an officer.
The former South Carolina police officer in this alarming cell phone video is headed to federal prison tonight for 20 years, one of the longest sentences ever handed down to an officer in a racially charged shooting.
Ex-Officer Slager was under the threat of prosecution from both the state and the federal government. In state court, he was charged with murder. It's important to note that South Carolina does not distinguish between first, second, and third degree murder. There is only one murder, and it's defined as killing someone with what is known as malice aforethought. During his state-level trial for murder, Slager was nearly convicted, but only 11 out of the 12 jurors were on board, and thus the judge declared a mistrial. Sensing that he narrowly escaped a potential life sentence, Slager pleaded guilty to one of his federal charges, deprivation of rights under color of law. He was never retried, and in exchange for his guilty plea, the remaining charges were dismissed. Let's go back to the example of Freddie Gray. When the officers who killed Freddie Gray were acquitted, the media blamed Marilyn Mosby, saying that she either rushed to file charges or she filed the wrong charges. I'm not blaming Marilyn Mosby for the acquittal of the officers in the Freddie Gray case, but what we don't want is for this officer to get off scot-free because he was overcharged.
While some cheered Mosby's initial decision to charge, she's been under increasing fire since the acquittal of Officer Edward Nero this week.
Those first two cases were clear examples that the district attorney down there was playing to the crowd. She's inexperienced, she overcharged, and that as these cases go forward, it'll be interesting to see if she's successful at all with any of them.
An inexperienced black woman does not magically become the lead prosecutor in a major city. But let's get back on topic. The question here is, why is this officer charged with third degree murder and not second degree or first degree? In Minnesota, the bottom line difference between third degree and second degree murder is the intent aspect. For second degree murder, the prosecution has to prove that the murderer intended to cause the death. That is not a requirement for third degree murder. The difference between second degree murder and first degree murder is that with first degree murder, you have to have premeditation in addition to the intent. Now, we've all looked at the same video, and many people are wondering, why is there an issue with proving intent? Intent is hard to prove because it's a mental state. It's hard to prove what someone was thinking in their mind. When someone takes out a gun and shoots someone in the head, most people can imply that the shooter intended to kill the victim. With the video evidence that we have, any competent prosecutor can surely get a conviction for third degree murder. And although this video shows this officer with his knee pressed into Mr. Floyd's neck for nearly 8 minutes, not everyone on earth is going to believe that this officer intended to kill Mr. Floyd. If you don't believe me, go through your social media and look at the people who are trying to defend this officer. For those of you who don't remember, that was the mother of Philando Castile, a black man gunned down in the summer of 2016 during a routine traffic stop. We're going to come back to that case because it is important for a number of reasons. The short answer is this: all things being equal, the chances of a conviction are still the same.